Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, and Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Ratazah. This lesson is edifying and informative. Ezekiel chapter 7 verse 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity.
This is Dabu 7. And as if things were not already bad enough in terms of inflation and the dollar just completely getting pounded out in terms of its buying power, well, it looks like it's about to get worse. And this is a big time red alert. This goes for everyone around the planet that's using US dollars. Because for all of our lives up to this point, the world reserve currency has been the United States dollar, and it's been so primarily because of a couple things. But number one, its petro status, that it's tied in to being backed by Saudi Arabia's oil. The other argument is that the dollar is backed by the full force of the U.S. military, which is backed by the U.S. Treasury, which is backed by the Federal Reserve. In other words, the dollar is backed by the dollar. It's a very naive position to have, especially when it's not backed by gold. And some would think, well, isn't the US dollar their golden goose? They're able to just keep making all this wealth and just keep doing it and never have to answer to nobody. Well, no, it's not. If you're short-sighted and you don't know the end game, maybe that's where you get caught up. But when you know where they're taking this and you know the end game, you know that this is a stepping stone toward the CBDC in a one world currency or network that tracks all currencies. Okay, and that is a beast blockchain system, the same one that I've been warning you about since 2017. We are on the doorstep of entering it, and now Saudi Arabia has just signaled the end of the dollar as you know it, because they are now moving away from trading in just the United States dollar. This is going to dissolve the dollar, weaken it to where other currencies that are in the IMF basket, like China's, it's going to strengthen, especially when they start to back their currency by gold. In the offing, there's going to be a major move on precious metals. You watch and you see. And all the people that sat there twiddling their thumbs are going to wish that they had something that they could trade with in the underground when their dollars are worthless. And all the people that say, oh, you can't eat gold and silver, well, no crap. But you can use it to trade for other goods in the underground, and that's a for sure thing. And people better get with it, because this year of 2023 may be the year they pull the rug out from underneath everyone. And I mean everyone. All warlords, all kingpins, all kings, queens, you name it. All the rich people out there that are rich off of US dollars are about to get a rude awakening. So I hope you have a plan when this whole conversion goes down, because what they're going to try to do is usher the masses toward a CBDC, which is going to be the end of your privacy forever. You can't let that happen, America. Of course, you can't let a lot of things happen, but everyone just sits on their tail and lets it happen. So this is coming like hell in a handbasket, and it's coming quick, and it could all start to unravel, well, It already is, right now. So, for those that have been sleeping on it, get ready. 2023 is about to bring a whole lot of interesting things. And this is one of them. Join me on the live stream where I've got time to break this down further in greater detail. Going live Monday and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern on Dabu 777. You'll find links below. Much love, y'all.
Let's be real, you've seen other automated Amazon ads before, and I want to explain just what makes us different. The first is we have a guarantee.
The US dollar is about to become completely worthless due to inflation and then hyperinflation and then ultimately an unprecedented depression. The US dollar was never intrinsic like real money, that is gold and silver, land, cattle. All these things are intrinsic because they have inherent value. Whereas the US dollar, which is extrinsic, meaning that it receives its value from external sources such as the global public, because they've trusted in the dollar, hence the reason why is the current leading reserve currency. But very soon that is about to change, as countries are now more so than ever at a much more faster rate ditching the US dollar because they cannot afford to convert their domestic currencies into the dollar to carry out global transactions. And so to combat this, they have been opting to move away from the utilization of the dollar to other currencies. But we understand ultimately that all roads are leading to the charagma, to the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, because the global elites of Esau Edom have an agenda to chip the entire globe. And they're getting ready to roll out a global CBDC system that will be utilized through a centralized blockchain, a network that will allow them to oversee all manners of transactions. And this is the groundwork for the CHIP. CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency, because these devils are getting ready to move away from physical paper money to digital currencies that will be centralized, that will be overseen by their central authorities, all in preparation for when they roll out the MOTB globally, when they are about to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or in their foreheads. All people on the earth except for the elect of the nation of Israel, whom Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, will reserve and keep from the hour of temptation, which is the hour of trial, to the idea of piercing, when they will mandate the mark of the beast globally, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, roughly paraphrasing the scripture, or the number of his name, according to the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. This is why the scripture says here in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, verse 19, that they, meaning the people, shall cast their silver in the streets, their money. Why? Because it will become worthless. By countries moving away from the dollar globally, that will cause it to lose purchasing power. Not to mention, the ongoing effects of inflation will only make that worse. And their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, meaning their minds, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity. Okay, so get ready to see in the very near future the collapse of the dollar, because by Saudi Arabia leaving the US dollar, moving away from it, that's very, very big. It shows that the dollar is about to lose its global dominance as being the world's leading reserve currency. We also mustn't forget that the US risks defaulting if it does not raise the debt ceiling in the near future. In other news, also from Dabu 7, who is burning down all the chicken, egg farms, and processing plants. This was published 4 days ago.
The estimated hold time is now
across America.
96 minutes.
This is Dabu 7, raising the question, who is attacking and burning down all of these egg processing plants or places that are producing eggs across the country? This being tied in, I believe, to all the food processing plants that have burnt down since 2020. We had kept track to over 100, and then I quit counting because it's obvious at that point we're under attack. Just like when you look at the grid and you see over 125 attacks in 1 year on substations, someone is attacking it. Anyone out there that wants any more evidence or one more attack or an exact count or just searching for excuses, they're not ready to face the fire, that we are under attack. And this is all about control. Wiping out all your food processing places, sending it higher. And it's record breaking. Yet the sheep just keep on pushing. This is going to catch up to us big time. And it seems to me that this is being done tactically by the hand out there. And let's not forget that we have some of these feds showing up at farms, knocking on the door and saying, hey, we just tested some of your chickens out here. They're positive for the bird flu. You've got to kill all 1 million of them, or however many it is. And they have to do so like immediately. The clock starts ticking. This destroys the business. This destroys everything that the people have built, and also it sends the price of chickens and eggs through the roof. This is tactical, and someone is up to doing this for sure. Now, when we go back and we look at just the egg facilities being burnt down, we had one in December that caused $12 million in damages. It killed 250,000 chickens. That was in Pennsylvania. Right before that, in October, we had a bunch of chickens get incinerated in a massive fire in Lexington, South Carolina. And then February of 2020, a blaze at Michael Foods killed 400,000 chickens. In December of 2020, around 240,000 chickens died when a fire burned through 3 barns in Pasco County, Florida. I mean, they keep stacking up. We have Animal Welfare Institute reporting that nearly 1.3 million cage-free hens perished in potentially preventable barn fires in 2020. And that's on top of all the rest of the stuff. We don't even have the newer numbers in yet. So in California, the average retail price of eggs went from $2.35 a year ago to $7.37 this year. And you're talking about the bleached white eggs not even your organic. They're going upwards of 10. Guys, I told you, you might want to start growing, get some chickens, all that. I said that years ago. I hope people are implementing a plan. Join me on the live streams where I break this down further into greater detail on what we can do to counter all this. You'll find links below. Dabu 7 Live, 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday and Fridays, Dabu 777. Much love.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. 3 things are required in the great outdoors.
This is Dabu 7, and it's time that people make a stand here against tyrannical powers that are trying to force them to do things like this, like dumping perfectly good milk just because they say individuals exceeded a quota. We have seen the prices of all kinds of foods go through the roof. The whole thing with eggs here hitting a whole nother level, as some organic batches of eggs here going for over $11. And this is getting crazy. Now, with the dairy here, 30,000 liters of milk ordered to be dumped. And the individuals that have to do this are in disgust. They're sitting here looking at this like this is a huge waste, but their hands are tied. They say the farmers are only paid for the milk they make within the bounds of a quota. So therefore, everything else has to get dumped. And others are saying that we're never going to get ahead. We're never going to catch up as long as this continues. So there was a video that was posted on Twitter on Wednesday showing these workers at a dairy farm claiming that they had produced around 260 gallons of milk. And during the winter months, it's generated slightly more milk than usual because of the consistency of the feed. Now, that's a plus, seeming that when we look at the feed situation with the chickens, what we've been seeing is the chickens haven't been wanting to lay eggs, especially with the feed coming out of Tractor Supply and a few other places. People have literally switched up their feed to goat feed and other feeds, and then the chickens started laying again. I'm telling you, all of this is tied in hand. And when it comes down to these federal powers, these different agencies, they're all playing a part in doing all this. So we should never be wasting things like this, perfectly good milk, and other commodities out there and just throwing it away. But yet this is what we're seeing left and right. And until the people grow a pair and can stand up against this tyrannical dictatorship being pushed in all countries, it's only going to get worse. Yeah, so the workers go on to say that milk in the region is worth $7 per liter. It's $7 for a little bit of milk. So that's the latest, guys. Join me on the live stream where I talk about this in greater detail and what we can do to counter all this. Going live Monday and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern on Dabu 777. You'll find links below. Hit that subscribe button for more. Much love, y'all.
So the Lord has been putting the Spirit very heavily on these devils to destroy food producers so that they may cut off certain food supplies for when they're ready to come down. And this person, Gitmo Holiday, made a statement saying, "I'm afraid one day it will snap. And instead of milk, blood will be spilled." And that is true, blood will be spilled. Not just milk, but blood will be spilled, because the times that we are about to see in the near future and that we're heading into are going to be very evil times. Now, this is the book of Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." So the times of Jacob's trouble draws nigh, when the Lord will execute judgments upon 2/3 of the nation of Israel, which, according to the book of Amos chapter 9 verse 10, say that the evil shall not overtake nor prevent them. Okay? And there will be many great evils that will bring many great miseries upon those that in the latter days, which we are in the latter days, have walked in great pride upon the earth. And who are they that have walked in great pride upon the earth? 2/3 of the nation of Israel, the Esau, Edom, the heathens. But in particular, we are focusing on our people. Okay? This is the book of St. Matthew. In fact, before I get that, let me get 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 15. Chapter 15, excuse me. Verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because cities are going to be closed down. Cities are going to be locked down. You won't be able to fly from state to state, country to country. Pardon me, drive over from border to border. Take ferries to get to your destinations. Why? For because of their pride, and this is the point, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, with the gun, and spoil, which means to take their goods, take all their food, all their victuals. Because of what? Because of the lack of bread, famine, and for great tribulation. Because during those times, the full storehouses are going to be suddenly found empty. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. All your supermarkets, your grocery stores, your key foods, your Costco's, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So all these different places are going to be found unsown and empty. Okay? Why? Because of famine, because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. That's why a lot of blood is going to be getting spilled. Because during those days, the love of many shall wax cold. St. Matthew chapter 24, verse 12, it says, and because iniquity shall abound. What is iniquity? Sin upon sin. And what is sin? 1 John chapter 3, verse 4 tells us that sin is transgression of the law. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that is why we're going to be seeing all these evils in the future to come. Okay? That's why this person made this statement. I'm afraid one day it will snap. And instead of milk, blood will be spilled. And we just read why. Okay, so with that, I pray this lesson was edifying and informative to the elect. Until the next Lord's willing, I say shalom.